So, rounding up day 6 and Group B, we're going right into it. The second group, PSG was down 1 first game of the day. TF Camille Nidalee, some target bans against down 1's carry players. Senna Lucian Ori, also rather targeted against PSG's lineup, but not really super prevalent picks, more power picks. Ashe first pick, a bit strange here. She has some counter matchups, but overall she is rather safe. Ornn, Graves, good combo for team fights and skirmishes, but they need an AP mid with some consistent damage. Kindred Syndra, taking Syndra away from Graves. Syndra Graves combo really good, and the Kindred another AD jungler for the Syndra. Jhin then picked up, good or at least solid into Ashe, depending on the support matchup. Going into the second ban phase, Lulu Sylas and Akali Pantheon. Power picks from one side and more target bans from the other side. Nothing really out of the ordinary. Echo then picked up, good versus Syndra. In the isolated 1v1, really good. But it's not really what the team needed. I think it's a bit greedy here. GP and Tam picked for their scaling, global ults, and GP is said to be a rather safe champion. Then lastly, Bart, great roaming, and Tam. Ashe is not really strong enough to pressure Jhin way too hard, so he can actually roam in these games. Going into the game, Nuguri and Showmaker, maybe they were just half asleep, dying unnecessary, and Showmaker even getting solo killed completely out of the blue. Nonetheless, even though PSG is doing really well in the early game, down 1 just farming better, and especially with their great fundamentals, stuff like playing around jungler, stacked recall timers, weak side, and division control for objectives. They're actually able to play around the lead PSG has and get back into the game. Even though PSG was scaling quite nice. On the back of Jhin and some team fighting, down 1 is overcoming rather dominantly the small hiccup that was the early game where there were these two deaths. So at the end, it's a rather convincing win for down 1, but these early game slip-ups are a bit concerning for now. Then going into the next match, Rogue vs JDG, TF Kate versus Yagao and Kanavi, Irelia, Akali, Lucian against Larsen. We see an Ornn first pick. Well, he's quite strong, and he facilitates AD junglers and teamfighting. Set Sylas, melee bruisers, not much engage here yet from the probably jungle support position. Sylas can steal the Ornn ult, but yeah, that's about it. Graves Ori, AD AP combo, and some team fighting, looking rather nicely overall. Echo then picked up, good against Ori and Graves. Another melee champion with no engage. So JDG is looking for skirmishes here. As will Twitch, Senna Ashe bans, so AD carry pool is rather pinched. Then Jhin picked first rotation of the second phase. Strong pick, his utility is able to help the melee champions, ride his W for the stun, for snare, and even his ult with the slows, able to slow the key targets down for his tanks to get close. Kalista, main pick for Hansama, Pantheon very damn strong. Both of these have great pressure, and Rogue generating this pressure point for their team in the bot lane, able to bridge for champions like Ornn and Ori for the late game, and maybe even Graves, who is more effective in mid-game scenarios. Camille then, another bruiser, more scaling now, additionally strong in the top lane 1v1 against Ornn, obviously. Silas jungle versus the Graves jungle, well, it's a bit oof, right? Silas can't really farm and duel him in most early stages. So Rogue, knowing that, is punishing Kanavi's pick with invades and so on, like pressuring him off camps. But actually, Kanavi is able to be even in farm. Just 101, he should be some camps behind, but then not in the isolation, but with the team pressuring him overall. He should be quite a bit behind, but yeah, he is not, showing that his pathing is still very smart, even though he is not having the impact which was promised from his LPL performance in terms of ganks or dives is what I mean here. Overall, JDG looking a bit rough, not only in today, but also the last games they played. Still performing worse than they did in the LPL. This includes Kanavi and Yagao, for example. Also, Zoom has, he has some moments, but then again, some games is rather strange. But them underperforming, not only against Rogue, against other teams as well, creates a back and forth game here with more kills than minutes, which, yeah, it's more indicative for a rather low standard game. No team able to use their leads, and the other team always able to fight back when the other has the lead. Even though these kills are traded, JDG is able to get the Drakes and turrets to increase their leads, with the bruisers getting items. And yeah, on the other side, Ori building support. Rogue likes some serious damage to kill these. Yeah, JDG with multiple flanks then in these fights, able to corral their targets. And yeah, the tanky boys being very tanky, getting Mountain Soul, becoming more tanky, was really breaking the game at one point where Rogue will never have enough damage to kill the tanks before their base damage and tankiness overwhelms them. So yeah, again, after a sloppy early game, JDG is able to use their comp, and well, with help from Larsen by buying very poorly, to get the win here. Even though it was not very convincing through the early and mid stages. Yes, now this means Rogue and PSG are now out of Worlds. Just JDG and Down1 are now contesting for first over the play day. And yeah, maybe Rogue and PSG can help either one of these to get it easier. Right, maybe avoiding a tiebreaker or something like this. So going into the next match, we have Down1 versus Rogue. Right, Rogue out of it, but maybe they can play spoiler here. So on Renekton Lucian, Camille Pantheon Nidalee, nothing really out of the ordinary. Power picks, and yeah, something like the Nidalee against Canyon, quite understandable. Graves' first pick, yeah, quite good. Has his weaknesses obviously, but overall a really strong high priority jungler at the moment. Ashe Lilia, Lilia and Ashe both work well into Graves. Both can slow him, and Lilia can be even in farm. Also, her AP is good against Graves. Yeah. Senna TF on the other side, Graves TF, quite decent mid jungle duo. Senna into Ashe, also very safe. Both can scale quite easily. Then we see a Rise, a bit strange, I have to say, at this point. Rise into TF is quite okay. The ult can follow him to a decent extent, but I'm not really liking it way too much, honestly. We see GP and Set against Finn and Vander, but Alistar against Beryl, picking up Nautilus right after. Leona and Cannon are being picked by Down1. Leona quite good, I have to give them that, but Cannon into Rise, for those of you that don't know, that's a major counter pick. So yeah, that's really strange seeing this happen. But well, Finn can play Rise, it seems, because he is picking Sion in the top lane. Sion, yeah, he can be okay. I mean, Cannon is not really one who kills tanks if he goes AP, but yeah, to lose this possible counter matchup or to not locate it is a bit sad. And in the game we see a lane swap since the start, so yeah, that's actually or normally pretty bad, because bot turrets die faster than top and mid lane turrets. But remember, we have a Senna in the game, so Senna can't take the plates so easily, and a Sion in the top lane can defend pretty good in a 1v1 and 1v2. Also, Sion not usually a champion you want to dive in the very early stages, because his passive damage is, yeah, it's a bit frightening. So yeah, it's a bit of a clever rotation for Rogue. But then, well, both teams wanting to fight and yeah, fight some more kills than minutes. But the kill allocation for down one is better, getting the kills on Canyon, and with Showmaker's ultimate, enabling them to push ahead in kills and use these kills more effectively than Rogue, establishing a major 6k gold lead in just 16 minutes. Canyon legendary, and with the pressure in all of their jungle and lanes, they are increasing their lead even further by another 5k on top in just 4 minutes following that. Very dominating performance altogether. After the early aggression from Rogue, their aggression was just crushed under Canyon's and down one's foot. Canyon very close to a penta, getting a quadra, and then Hansama staying in the fountain. And yeah, 1304 performance from Canyon, again with 13 kills in the game. Yeah, even though the early game from down one now has been a bit sloppy 2 times, their mid game is just very dominating and leaves little chance for the enemy team to do anything. So moving on to PSG and JDG, we see TF, Kalista and Oriana in the bands, then Sad Lucian in Italy. Yeah, quite standard bands. Ori and Set are more or less target bans against the enemy team, but still power picks. Graves' first pick, again, needs an AP mid. Syndra would be good. Syndra on being picked. Syndra being more or less a steal here. Also, Syndra is a good champion for tank. Also, they show some good scaling and team fighting, but they need an AD jungler, which yeah, will probably be Kindred. Kayle Galio on the other side, rather uncommon picks, I have to say, but they do work great together. We have some AD damage for Kanavi, and then Galio with CC, and the Kayle ult with Galio ult can work quite nicely. Kindred then, as expected, the next AD jungler, quite interesting against Galio and Kayle, with the ultimate interactions. Depends on how you use them, can turn out greatly or badly, either way. Still a strong pick overall though. Senna versus Unified and Twitch banned. Pantheon and Bard taking OP subs from Little Mao. Caitlyn then picked a strong AD carry in the bot lane position. Ezreal Karma, solid bot lane, lacks some range into the Caitlyn matchup, but very good in the mid game. But yes, they worked a bit bad against the Lux, which is the incoming lane focus pick into Karma. But well, Lux is only great in the bot lane 2v2. Later on, Karma provides way more for the team. Very early skirmishes in PSG's bot side end up with a 4-kill lead for PSG actually. So River has 3 marks in 4 minutes, 2 kills and some CS leads. And yeah, although he's not increasing the global lead for his team, keeping it at like 1k for around 20 minutes, PSG is not being overwhelmed by JDG, which is rather good. Like PSG has the champions to stay safe and scale fine. Yes, Kale is scaling freely on the other hand, but with the bot lane pressure, PSG is able to get 3 Drakes with an Ocean Soul coming up rather shortly. And then, well, yeah, PSG shows why they're, in my opinion, the most amazing team from the PCS. Not only after suffering all that roster stuff, with a 23-minute Ocean Soul fight won, Soul secured, even a 5v4 fight in the Baron Pit, enabling PSG to destroy JDG's hopes for first, getting their first win, and with an 11-1 scoreline, the second from the PCS, out of the plains, beating China's number 2, a so-called world favorite. Very great performance as well, not mainly through JDG's misplays, but through clever play from River and Tank. And this is a game to reassure themselves. Uniboy and Kongine, the MVP mid-jungle duo of plains, left huge shoes to fill on the international stage, and with such an upset win, they proved why they are the main roster players. Overall, though, a rather disappointing game from JDG again. They are no longer first in any case. They can still take a game of down 1 later, but they are confirmed second now. On the other hand, PSG can lock third even when they are able to win against Rogue in the next game. So yeah, a really convincing performance, and JDG again not really performing all that well. Maybe they need to get accustomed to Worlds, and luckily for them, they are now confirmed second, so they get some more time, but they need to get back on track to their normal performance of this year. So as I said before, PSG Rogue, next matchup. PSG, well, as I said before, with a win here, getting third over EU's third seed. And yeah, Rogue needs the win to at least save some face after already being locked out of further Worlds continuation. Hacker Nidalee Shen, classic bans against the European teams. TF Lucian Kate, just strong picks taken off the board. Ornn, again first pick, really solid, punishable, but mostly solid. Ori Lilia, strangely 2 AP champs here. Not taking any AD champ away from an Ornn. Graves Syndra, great duo, complementing each other, as I said many times. Aurelia then picked up, scales freely into Ornn, and is some AD damage with these 2 AP champs, but also Aurelia has very much of AP damage through her passive. So yeah, a bit much AP damage here. Set Pantheon, a band against Vander, Alistar against Skywing, and Twitch. Well, at this point I assume Unified was like really good in scrims or something with this, with it being banned so often against him. Senna that picked up, more scaling, safe into many AD carries. Then we see something interesting, Aphelios Thresh, 2 more unusual champs, but these are comfort picks, Aphelios is really good for Unified. He's 6-0 for him on him in summer. Scaling as well, and interestingly, Aphelios, his weak early game, can be hidden against Senna, because Senna is not able to punish it. And yeah, Thresh also very safe for him with the Lantern. Yeah, then Braum lastly being picked up for Rogue against the Ornn and, well, the other projectile champions. It's to counter PSG's engage well, but yeah, they fail to notice that now they have no engage, or at least no first tier engage. First tier engage meaning first initiation. So, for example, an Ornn ult or an Alistar combo, like this is like first tier engage. Even Ornn is a bit debatable if it's first tier, but something that can go in, right? And like maybe a Rakan is often said to be first tier, but Rakan, Braum ults, these are follow-up engages, right? Rakan usually, right, in most cases, can just arbitrarily just go into 5 people. He also can be stunned, Camille can ult him, and some other stuff like this can happen. So Rakan needs a setup to be first tier engage, so he's not reliably first tier engage. This as well, like Braum can flank and then ult 5 people with his ult, which can be an engage. But usually he is follow-up engage on something like an Ornn knockup or something. So overall, Rogue lacks first tier engage. On the other hand, PSG has no reliable first tier engage, but they have potential first tier engage, like a Thresh hook, an Aphelios ult, a stun, or an Ornn ult, right? These things are not great on their own, but accumulating them, and also in contrast to the total lack of first tier engage on Rogue side, this is actually a way better, right? Even 0.5 is greater than 0, right? So yeah, PSG likes team fighting additionally to these engage circumstances, and Rogue wants to fight on smaller stages, really small fights, like more skirmishes. They can fight at any stage, but again, they have no engage, so they need to counter PSG's engage, which is on pro level rather hard. Yeah, Tank then again having a day of his life. Remember the other games? He was solo killing Showmaker, destroying Yagao in the game before, and now a 20 CS lead solo in 7 minutes against Larsen. Remember, Rogue's best player, someone who was said to be just behind Caps. So yeah, Tank has a really strong performance, showing up. Yeah, he has not as great stats as Uniboy, but well, he was also playing against stronger opponents. So yeah, he doesn't need to be ashamed of anything. Also River again, gaining early drakes and setting up for Unified in the bot lane to enable him with a 20 CS lead as well. After some good rotations, PSG is able to extend it to a 3k lead and 3 drakes again. Rogue's inability to engage a fight is clearly showing in these river standoffs or mid lane face-offs, right? PSG, on the other hand, has some options. As I said, not great ones, but better than nothing. So yeah. Then again, Finn into Hanabi. The Aurelia is more or less their only reliable win condition. But if the Ornn knows what to do against the split pusher, this won't be an issue, right? Go like the usual Ornn items first and second, and then go for the Vormox armor, enabling you to tank the minion wave, just take all the pain, all the hurt, but kill the wave before it hits turret, and then back off, right? Not die, and then regen all your health back, and repeat that cycle, so Aurelia will never get a wave into the turret, and will not get any meaningful turret damage. Yeah, and just as I said, PSG is able to get an engage off with their many means, right? They need to try again, but after getting one off, trading 0 for 4, getting a Baron afterwards, and able to fight for the Soul Drake in the post-reset time, which puts, well, the nail into the coffin. As I said before, strong Drake, like souls are so OP. Another 0 for 4 fight. PSG really good overall. Rather smart drafting, right, with the Aphelios combination, and yeah, picking the good champs like Orn. Playing to their strengths, PSG is actually able to take Rogue down and locking Group B with them in third. So, coming to the final match, the match everyone was waiting for. This is just for pride, this is just for banter, this is just for JDG to say that they are not as bad as they are shown to be. And for Down One, it is to say that they are here to win Worlds, right? A 6-0 in this difficult group as a stand point, which everyone has to respect. Even their potential 5-1 is still very amazing. And especially the games they played, which is, I think, is more important than the end score, right? Suning and G2 in Group A also made it through, but the games they played were really sloppy and weren't that clean. Yeah, they had some good individual plays, but as a team it was rather wild, let's say at least. Dortmund, on the other hand, in most of their games, rather convincingly, they dominated, right? Today we had some early hiccups in the early game, but again, in mid-game there were no chances for any enemy team. So, looking at this now, we see Akali, Pantheon, Nidalee, Lucian, Caitlyn, Renekton. These are the usual bans for these high class teams, right? Champions like Akali and Lucian, maybe like the normal Worlds teams don't play these and are not banning them, but against players of this caliber, these champions can't come through, so they are taken off. Camille for Zoom first, and also taking it from Nuggery. Set Graves, strong skirmishers, but yeah, a bit of a lot AD here. Not picking like a Syndra with Graves. Yeah, opening up for the Echo counter pick, but yeah, TF Lilia. Then on the other side, TF quite good. Also, yeah, into the Graves. Lilia scaling nicely, also works good with Camille. And the AP, as I said before, is good into Graves. Galio countering TF, and Camille, in a sense, working also good with Graves in invades. In the ban phase, Leona Ashe, Senna Ezreal, pinching the ADC pool more. Kalista, strong bot combination with an engaged support. MF Bart, both good versus Kalista, and Bart, yeah, a known pick for Lil Mao, setting up for future plays. Alistar, exactly what Down One needs. Beryl's main champ, the engage and the Kalistar combo, which gives the most engage, I think, in the bot lane. Also a champ who can take Galio into the fight. So overall, JDG more scaling, looking for picks and split pushing. Down One mainly looking for team fights in really any stage of the game. But they have to watch their damage output later, as it will be quite an issue. JDG getting early leads and kills, but falls behind in CS respectively. Then, with some great leads here and there, also able to secure meaningful objectives, like turret plates, for example, getting a 4k gold lead actually in the early game. The first time I feel like Down One has fallen this far behind. Down One fighting and fighting again and again, getting some kills, evening it out nearly. 3 Drakes actually, and then after one fight a Baron, but dying with Baron buff afterwards. and the soul they are able to secure just being a cloud soul. A bit unlucky, I have to say. It's not looking too good for him. As I said before, they have to watch out the damage output. Yeah, getting a massive fight, getting Loken immediately, a 3 for 5. Yeah, and in the reset afterwards, JDG is able to get the Baron, which is, even if JDG down 1 is winning fights nearly, they're not able to get the meaningful objectives. And JDG with a gold lead of 5k with their good skating and team fights, yeah, are able actually to crack down 1 gaming's base for first time at Worlds. And after another failed engage from down 1, they suffer actually their first loss at Worlds 2020. A bit surprising, I have to say, and if they had more luck in the Drakes department, I could see them actually winning this game. They were actually being rather close, even though they should be way more behind in these fights. Yeah, a bit lost in draft with like this low damage, but yeah. And as I said before, this match changes nothing really for the groups. It's just important for pride and image. Down 1 not being able to be the 4th team going 6-0 in World's history, and JDG being able to like show at least that they're not completely Dade Award 5-man. So yeah, this is it for this day. Was a bit long video, but many surprises happened. Yeah, so tomorrow we will go over Group C. This will be very exciting, with many teams playing, yeah, good and bad depending on the day. So see you around. Stay safe. Bye.